I am Larry O'Connor alongside Brian Wilson.
He is the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia. He wants to be governor. The Republican nominee for Virginia governor is on the line right now. Ken Cuccinelli, how are you?
Doing well, hanging in there, which is about all I asked for 11 days out.
I understand it. You're getting down to the end of the campaign. You know, you had your big debate last night with Terry McAuliffe down in Blacksburg, and among other things, we learned that you, Ken Cuccinelli, have an affinity for young puppies.
I like puppies.
Yeah, we understand that you really enjoy...
I like puppies.
Yeah, but it really was sort of a larger point. And the larger point was you think that your opponent, Terry McAuliffe, doesn't really present plans that have a lot of detail or specificity. Here's the longer
bite. I like puppies, but I don't bring a puppy home. I don't bring a puppy home if I don't have a plan for how I'm going to deal with that puppy. Or guess what my house is going to look like. And he's all puppy and no plans.
He's all puppy and no plan. Expand upon that just a little bit.
You know, we've had 3 debates. There's one more Saturday, actually.
Oh, is there one more, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of got thrown together at the last minute.
I wasn't aware of that.
There have been 3 debates, and in all 3 debates, Terry McAuliffe has essentially refused. And by refused, I don't mean refused me. I mean refused the moderator in each of those debates to provide any details for the billions of dollars of promises he's making. So that's where we calculate his promises is costing the average family about $1,700 in new taxes. I mean, he is promising everything everywhere. And his only explanation for how you pay for it is Medicaid expansion. And I got to tell you, for people who don't like Obamacare, obviously I was the first one to court to fight it, and also won't expand it like Terry McAuliffe wants to. He didn't even think it went far enough. So part of this November 5th election is a referendum on Obamacare. If people don't like it, I'm their candidate. And if people do like it, well, Terry McAuliffe not only likes it, he wanted to go farther and wants to expand it. So this is his funding mechanism for all of his promises, and boy, there are a lot of them. It's hard to even stack them all up, but we did the best we could.
Mr. Attorney General, it seems to me that you're trying to stake a claim here that he's all headline and no backup. You look at his website, it's the same thing, and I was shocked to see when he talks about immigration that he really has nothing to say about it. And I know you want to start to stake some claims here and separate yourself and show how you're different. Can I get you today to come out in favor of E-Verify for businesses in the state of Virginia and in favor of some very real border security, because illegal immigration and immigration reform is going to be a major topic in the next couple of months?
Well, it certainly is. I would say the top topic right now is still Obamacare and the dysfunction there. The border I'm most worried about in a state election is the Potomac. We want to try to keep Washington on the other side of it. And Terry McAuliffe, even the Washington Post says he's a Washington insider and a Virginia outsider. And if we're going to import that into Richmond, we're going to change Virginia politics and not for the better. I've used E-Verify in my office of Attorney General. I support its use in government. I would, as I said 4 years ago, want to see its use in government first before we start pushing it out on businesses. So I'm not averse to doing that, but I want to see how it works across our own government first. I think there are a lot of things where if government wants to impose the burdens, they should go first, try it out. And if it works, then we can look at pushing it out into the private sector. But more critically, that whole issue, the immigration issue, is probably one of the best examples of dysfunction in Washington altogether. And Terry is an all-Washington guy. I mean, he's done nothing but demonize Republicans for over 30 years to raise money for the Democrats, and he's good at it.
Yeah,
he's good at that part. But that doesn't qualify you to govern, which goes back to your first question. He can't explain virtually any of his so-called plans for Virginia. And I'm glad you went to his website. It's all platitudes. Hey, I'm for education. I'm for jobs. And that's where my puppy line came from. I said, look, I'm for education and jobs, too. I love puppies. But I don't bring a puppy home if I don't have a plan to take care of it. My house is going to get wrecked.
Let me ask you about the state of your campaign, because you've seen the polls, no doubt, and depending on which poll you look at, you're behind. The average of polls shows that you're down by about 10 points. Couple of questions. Are you happy with the campaign that you've run thus far? Secondly,
well,
hold on.
well,
The second part of that question is, how much is the candidacy of Sarvis impacting your campaign?
Well, I don't know that it will when Election Day rolls around. We'll still have to see about that. I mean, we've had third-party candidates before. I am the strongest pro-liberty statewide elected official in my lifetime in Virginia. Whether I've been fighting the federal government, the biggest opponent of all on health care or the EPA, or fighting for just one person, like my Thomas Hainsworth case that I argued in court to exonerate him for crimes he didn't commit after he spent 27 years in prison. That was just for one person. So I've covered the whole spectrum on liberty and pushing back on government power for the benefit of individuals.
What about the status of your campaign? Are you pleased with that?
Dr. Paul. I haven't run a campaign where I wouldn't do some things different looking back, but we're not done yet, and I'm the best closer in Virginia on the Republican side. We've got a great ground game, even with some of the apathy you've seen around the country. We still have done the best groundwork in 2013 that we've ever had in the campaign, and the whole point of that is the last 10 days, and that's where we're coming now. So
Attorney General
our job is to turn people out and focus on a couple issues like taxes and Obamacare.
Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli is our guest, and your debate last night was in Blacksburg. You were on the campus of Virginia Tech, so of course, because of the shootings 6 years ago, that question loomed large, gun issues, and this remarkably is what Terry McAuliffe said.
This is a serious issue. I talk about that we should help. The Commonwealth should help. There's also federal money and assistance for what you call the resource officers. I do not believe we should be arming our teachers and our professors. I do not support that.
Mr. Attorney General, can you please draw a distinction here between your view on self-defense and the Second Amendment and your opponents?
Yeah, I believe in self-defense under the Second Amendment, unlike my opponent. And did you notice that his first response was to go talk about federal money?
Yeah, that's the go-to. That's the trump card.
It's always Washington with Terry. Always Washington. Washington has every solution. I'm not sure why he's running for governor except to just sign checks to endorse the back of checks coming from Washington that he presumes we're going to get. He's running for head lobbyist. And I am an A-rated NRA candidate. He is the only F-rated candidate running statewide. And, in Northern Virginia, I'm sure you guys have talked about the Michael Bloomberg money. They run these ads and talk about all this gun control for law-abiding citizens, and they use examples where it wouldn't have had any effect. These terrible public tragedies, where the background check changes that my opponent has talked about would have had no effect at all on any of them. He can't name a single crime that would have been stopped by his proposals, not one, and yet he's willing to take away the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens.
I got to ask you one more question. You're the Attorney General of Virginia. Do you have a state trooper that drives you around?
No, I do not.
So you drive yourself, right?
I'm mostly riding, but it's my own person. Yeah, we don't have a state trooper driving us around.
Have you ever in the past, or will you in the future, enter a beach party where there are young people partying and drinking beer?
You mean like under 18 young?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's 21 now. So under 21? No, not and just continue to let it happen.
There you go. All right.
So that's the difference, Attorney General of Maryland and Attorney General of Virginia. There's your distinction.
All right. There you go.
Doug is a party animal.
Ken Cuccinelli, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Always good to talk to you.